Is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez planning to play puppet master if Joe Biden gets elected? The political leadership in Nashville is under fire for withholding key information from the public about coronavirus. Plus, Hershel Walker calls out NFL owners and players over Black Lives Matter. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you've had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Joe Biden because we've got some interesting comments from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and it all pertains to Biden being an empty suit. We've said it before. He seems to be able to be just pushed around, guided, pushed by the far left. That's what it's looking like. He says things that don't make sense, that are incoherent. He's often out of breath, and you have to wonder if he's even at the top of the ticket, because this week, both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden seem to get things confused. Here's Kamala Harris from Monday.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
All right, so that's Harris from Monday. This is Joe Biden on Tuesday.
Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans.
A Harris-Biden administration. Yep, what a week. Even yesterday, Joe Biden was in a CNN town hall, and it couldn't have been any more opposite from what President Trump went through with ABC. Softball question after softball question. Like, let's go easy on this old guy because we know he can't take it. It was just pathetic, folks. But that's Joe Biden. So that leads us to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because coming out of the Capitol, she engaged in a street interview where she said some very revealing stuff of how she thought a Joe Biden administration would be like as far as advancing left-wing causes. So she was asked if she shared the concerns of Bernie Sanders that Joe Biden wasn't far left enough. And here's what she said.
I mean, of course I do. We're different people, and clearly in the primary, one of the reasons why I was supportive of Senator Sanders was because of how progressive his stances are.
So she's concerned, but the important thing now, she says, is to come together, and we can push Joe Biden.
You know, the primary's over, and right now, what is most important is to make sure that we ensure a Democratic victory in November, and that we continue to push Vice President Biden on issues from marijuana to climate change to foreign policy.
So basically every issue, she wants to push Joe Biden farther to the left. So the thing is, will he do it? How does she feel? How easy does she think it will be to push Joe Biden to the far left positions that she likes, that Bernie Sanders likes, that Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are pushing? How easy will it be to push Joe Biden?
Overall, we can likely push Vice President Biden in a more progressive direction across policy issues.
Wow. So she believes that Joe Biden can be pushed in the progressive direction on basically any issue. She even chuckles about it. And it's just so revealing. That little interview says so much about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Joe Biden. She actually thinks, and I'm sure the whole progressive wing, these far left Democrats that want to ruin the country and impose socialism on all of us, I think they do believe that they can just push Joe Biden wherever they want. Remember, at the beginning of this campaign, it was just amazing. I was thinking, along with a lot of people, that the far left doesn't want Joe Biden. Obviously, they want Bernie Sanders. But with Joe Biden, they get the empty suit. They get a shell that they can push in whatever direction they want. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just came out and said it, flat out said it, that we're going to push Joe Biden in a more progressive direction. Puppet Master AOC for Joe Biden in the Harris-Biden administration. We'll see what she thinks come November, because Biden won't even be there anyway. But it's an interesting dynamic to see how even Democrats, these far lefties, think that Joe Biden is just not with it. He's out there. We can push him wherever we want. Next, I want to talk about what's going on in Nashville. But first, if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're new to the show, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day, and we can do it with your help. All right, folks, there's been some really interesting information that's come out of Nashville this week, and it has to do with coronavirus. And one of the things that is so frustrating, I know you guys share it, I share it, is that you can't trust the information. We know that the media, the Democrats, the far left are pushing a narrative of fear. They want the control. They want people to be afraid. They don't want them to go out of their house because it puts more power in the hands of Democrats. It helps sway this election so they can push this mail-in voting, and we can't trust the results. So what's interesting about Nashville is that there's more information that came out right now that paints a totally different narrative than what we are being told. These essential businesses that were open and the non-essential ones that were closed, the data really didn't fit the narrative in Nashville, but it was withheld from the general public. And here's the story. The coronavirus cases on Lower Broadway may have been so low that the mayor's office and the Metro Health Department decided to keep it a secret. Emails between the mayor's senior advisor and the health department reveal only a partial picture, but what they reveal is disturbing. The discussion involves the low number of coronavirus cases emerging from bars and restaurants and how to handle that. So what's going on here, folks? I mean, across the country, bars and restaurants were the things that were singled out, where people gather to have fun, to be social, to be human beings. Those were the things that were shut down. You can't do that. You have to stay home. So data is coming out that shows that these cases in bars and restaurants were low. So that's something that we should get out to the general public, right? That's something that they would want to know so we could get things moving back to normal, right? Not so fast. On June 30th, contact tracing was given a small view of coronavirus clusters. Construction and nursing homes were found to be causing problems with more than 1,000 cases traced to each category, but bars and restaurants reported just 22 cases. Leslie Waller from the health department asks, "This isn't going to be publicly released, right? Just info for the mayor's office." Correct. Not for public consumption, writes senior advisor Benjamin Eagles. This is unreal, folks. They saw that the contact tracing, the incidents, the problems coming out of bars and restaurants was so low as to be almost negligible, and they sat on it. They did not release the information to the public. And here's more. Neither the health department nor the mayor's office would confirm the authenticity of the emails, but council member Steve Glover had a Metro staff attorney inquire. Here's the official answer. "I was able to get verification from the mayor's office and the Department of Health that these emails are real," the staff attorney answered. Glover says this is Metro Nashville orchestrating a cover-up. "They are fabricating information," Glover said. "They've blown their entire credibility, Dennis. It's gone. I don't trust a thing they say going forward. Nothing." Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The information does not fit the narrative, so they sit on it. Rather than getting people back to normal, rather than just isolating the critical areas, the key areas, these so-called hot spots, they stay with the narrative and withhold the information. They don't want the real information getting out, and it's illegal, folks. Something needs to be done in Nashville, and I'll stay on it. So next, I want to talk about Hershel Walker and his video that he posted. As you know, he's been a big supporter of President Trump, of the police. He spoke at the Republican National Convention, had a great speech there, has been pro-police, backing the blue, standing up. Well, this week he posted a video on Twitter going after Black Lives Matter, calling out the NFL, and just taking them to task. And here's how it started.
The other day, I was listening to one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, and I heard her say that they are trained Marxists. And I've heard that statement so many times. But then yesterday, I finally heard it, and I saw it with my own eyes.
So it's great to see Walker's reaction there, because everyone talks about Black Lives Matter. They read things or they hear about things. But when he watched this and saw and heard this person saying this directly, it's a totally different feeling, a totally different perspective. And here's more from Walker.
And I'm challenging every owner in the NFL, every owner of Major League Sports, every owner of stadiums, every commissioners, every leader in Washington, every church. I'm challenging every professional player. Is this who you're supporting?
I just love this. How many team owners, how many players will answer this challenge? Answer that, yes, I support BLM, and I know that they stand for all of this stuff. I know what they really stand for, and I'm going to still stand behind them. I mean, all of these owners, the NFL, ESPN, all of these sports entities are backing a bogus organization, one that is a left-wing organization bent on power and control, does not care about Black lives. Hershel Walker called him out on it, and he went on to describe this whole Marxist mentality perfectly.
A trained Marxist tells you that they're anti-government, they're anti-American, they're anti-Christian, they're anti-everything. A matter of fact, they're saying it with their own mouth. They're not afraid to tell you that. I think whoever is for that need to come out and tell the American people.
So there it is. That's what they stand for. Hershel Walker described it, called it out beautifully, and basically he just says, okay, people can support who they want. What I want to hear these NFL owners and players say is, yes, I do support BLM, and I know they're Marxist. I know what they really stand for. See if they'll actually come out and say that. Because right now, everybody is just a victim of this woke mob. They won't stand up to an organization that does not care about Black lives. So congratulations to Hershel Walker for calling out BLM and these owners and players that just pay lip service to standing up for Black lives. People like LeBron James, who really don't care what's going on in the communities, but they'll call out a police officer whenever they can. It's just ridiculous. And it is a perfect segue, folks, for Friday, because we have to ask LeBron James and these others, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, like, I don't know, a relaxed brain.
All right, folks, we got some cool relaxed brain today. You heard during testimony, the CDC director, he came out and he said something bizarre, that masks were actually better than the vaccine, that he thought a mask would be better than the vaccine. Well, Dr. Fauci came out and he did him one better. Fauci now says putting a fan on your head to blow the virus away is better than a mask. I love that. If you folks see stuff like that, please send it to me because it just shows the craziness of it. Can you imagine people go, I want to do that. I want to put a fan on and just say, hey, I'm going to be safe from coronavirus. You guys are on your own. I'm protected. This is way better than a mask, way better than a vaccine. I've got my fan. I've got my COVID fan. It's just awesome. So next, I want to tell you about the other thing I love is when wokeness comes to bite these lefties in the butt. You know, they get so woke. They're so self-aware of their white guilt and all of this stuff. And then it comes back to get them. I just love that. And we're seeing it in a classic case at Princeton University. Just 2 weeks ago, the president published this open letter saying how bad his own university is as far as systemic racism. And here's part of what he wrote. Racism and the damage it does to people of color nevertheless persist at Princeton as in our society, sometimes by conscious intention, but more often, though, unexamined assumptions and stereotypes, ignorance or insensitivity, and the systemic legacy of past decisions and policies. Racist assumptions from the past also remain embedded in structures of the university itself. For example, Princeton inherits from earlier generations at least 9 departments and programs organized around European languages and culture, but only a single, relatively small program in African studies. Whatever. He's got this letter out there just dumping, spewing his white guilt. Woe is me. Woe is our university. So guess what happened? President Trump's Department of Education said, oh, wow, we're going to look into that. If you're thinking that your university is racist, you're violating the law. We're going to examine it. Here's part of the letter that they sent to Princeton. Based on its admitted racism, the U.S. Department of Education is concerned Princeton's non-discrimination and equal opportunity assurances from at least 2013 to the present may have been false, the letter stated. The Education Department wrote in its letter that it was concerned that Princeton's many non-discrimination and equal opportunity claims to students, parents, and consumers may have been false, misleading, and actionable substantial misrepresentations and violations of the law. The department is further concerned Princeton perhaps knew or should have known these assurances were false at the time they were made. The letter continues. See, here's the thing. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act prohibits any entity receiving federal funds from discriminating based on race or national origin. And Princeton's president just admitted, hey, we do it. We do it over here at Princeton. So the Department of Education says, all right, we're going to investigate you. You're probably breaking the law. So the moral of this story is when you have that feeling of white guilt and it just becomes so big that you just have to express it, make sure you're not breaking the law first. Oh my gosh. All right, folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in tomorrow for our Saturday live stream, 11 a.m. Central Time. I'll take your questions. We'll talk politics. We'll get into some of the electoral strategies of the 2020 election. It'll be great. So tune in then. But until then, before you go, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.